Mike Brown of the New York Knicks has had enough of the disrespect. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. Please just take a quick second, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then sometime during this video, comment below your thoughts on the Knicks and what I'm going to be talking about. I always enjoy talking basketball with you, so hit me up in the comments. Obviously, Knicks off to a very good start this season, fighting for that number one seed in the East. They've dealt with some injuries, but besides the couple games he missed, the one constant on this team has been Jalen Brunson. And I guess I shouldn't say constant. There's been, Mikal Bridges. There's been guys who played very well. But at the end of the day, Jalen Brunson belongs in the MVP conversation, and he has been getting disrespected for multiple years now, but it might be worse than ever this year. And Mike Brown finally brought some attention to it after the Knicks game the other day against the Bucks. I think it was before the game actually. He was like, yeah, he should be in the conversation for MVP. He's 7th in the NBA in scoring. And that's considering he's doing a lot less ISO this year than he has in years past. He's been willing to take on some new responsibility and has done it in stride and is a team player and is doing a great job in this offense. And Mike Brown wasn't the only person who noticed it. Stan Van Gundy also commented on it during the game, saying that he really belongs in that conversation. And of course, you look at the numbers, and yeah, these are MVP caliber numbers. 29 points per game, 6 assists, shooting almost 50% from the field, which is crazy impressive for a guard. Yet you pull up the MVP odds, and he is still getting incredibly disrespected. When you compare him to the Sheas and Jokic's and Lukas of the world stats-wise, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he should be neck and neck with those guys at this point in the season. But to find him all the way down here beneath Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell is incredibly disrespectful. And plus 25,000 odds right now on him, which is pretty crazy. When you put him up against Steph this year, so Steph is averaging 28 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and is shooting 47%. And then with Brunson, half a rebound less, but 2 more assists, more points, better shooting percentage. And then I think the big thing that I think doesn't get enough attention in terms of the MVP race is Steph Curry is sitting here fighting for his life to make the play-in game. How are you the most valuable player in the league if your team is barely keeping their head above water? And I would make that argument for a lot of these guys. And another one I wanted to call attention to, Anthony Edwards, was above him on this list. Again, averaging 1 less point, a couple less assists, maybe 1 extra rebound, but he's shooting a lower percentage from the field and has been less efficient. And then, a guy like Donovan Mitchell might be averaging a couple points more per game, but his team has not been quite as good as I think they were expecting. I don't even know that he's the most valuable player on his own team. I think you could make a strong argument that Evan Mobley is the most valuable player on the Cavs. And then I think when you just look at the standings, that's where I have a lot of the issue here. And both the standings and who else are on these teams. The Thunder, 19-1, but they have so many stars. The job Shea has is a little bit easier than the job that Jalen Brunson has. And then you look around at some of these other guys, Anthony Edwards, his team is barely in the playoffs. Giannis, his season has been incredible this year. He's shooting over 60%. But right now, he's beneath the Bulls and the Celtics without Tatum and the Sixers. His team is not even making the play-in game if this season ended right now. So it's and I know he's missed a couple games, but how can you give the MVP award to somebody whose team isn't even going to make the playoffs. So, in my opinion, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Jalen Brunson right now, if the season ended, deserves to be MVP. Like, you look at Jokic's stats and Luka and Shea, like they're a little bit of a notch above what Jalen Brunson is at. And you could maybe even make that argument for Cade Cunningham too. But a lot of these other guys on the list have no business being as high as they are. Like Tyrese Maxey should not be above Jalen Brunson right now, in my opinion. Because, like I said, this isn't a who has the best stats award. It is who is the most valuable player. And I don't know that there is anyone in the East, at least, who is as valuable as Jalen Brunson. I think you could make that argument for Cade Cunningham, but like with all the injuries the Knicks have had, Jalen Brunson is just a dog day in and day out. He has this team fighting and playing hard. He's just a walking bucket, a guaranteed 30 points a game pretty much. And it doesn't matter that OG Anunoby's missed some time. It doesn't matter that Mitchell Robinson has missed some time. Like he is out there putting on a show night in and night out. And I think that matters. Like I think sometimes we get so caught up in the stats and it's like, oh, well, you know, if you look at the advanced metrics, Donovan Mitchell's like a point higher than Jalen Brunson, so he should be MVP. But like this, like stats don't win you championships. Stats don't tell the entire story. They tell some of the story, but I don't think you can watch the Cavs and tell me Donovan Mitchell is having as big of an impact on their success as Jalen Brunson is on the Knicks' success. So hopefully, like I'll show the odds one more time. It's right now it's pretty much between Shea and Jokic, and I think the two of them are right there and deservedly so. Luka is a close third, and then there's kind of a big drop off in odds. But like I said, some of these guys like Giannis and Maxey and Edwards and Curry, like their teams, in my opinion, are not good enough to truly warrant being in the MVP discussion. And then some of these other guys, like Donovan Mitchell, I think you really have to consider some of the players that are on their team. And like I said, if it's a debate whether you're even the most valuable player on your own team, then you probably shouldn't be in the MVP conversation. So we'll see what happens. A lot of season left. Jalen Brunson, whether he's given the recognition for it or not, is going to keep balling out. But I hope that by the end of the year we see him. Like I said, I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but I hope that we can see him in the top 5 and receiving some strong consideration for the work that he's doing. Because, like I said, he is balling out and he deserves that recognition. So I'm glad that Mike Brown and Stan Van Gundy both called it out during that game. And hopefully, you know, the Vegas odds and the voters can end up reflecting that later on this season. So you guys let me know what you think, and then don't forget, just like and subscribe on the way out.